let's go.
Oh yeah,
And the quality's great.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now with, I guess the white walls and then the LEDs.
Yep.
That my stories look terrible because when you upload it to Instagram, they look awful for me. And then even my videos, I have to go into Lightroom, edit them, and if I don't do that, Instagram makes the video look nothing like it should look like.
Do you have a history in that? Like, did you go to school for anything like that? No, just particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you own a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just buy it to speculate, or were you buying it for work? I mean, was it a...
No, my dad actually bought it for me after high school. I think he bought it for family photos, and
Oh, okay.
he was just like, here, you can have it and use it. And I used to have a car that I took pictures probably every weekend, every other day with it. So
What kind of car was it?
it's going to be shameful, but a Dodge Dart.
Why is that shameful? What,
No one knows about those cars. They discontinued them after a few years.
I think Josh drove like a Dodge 50 for a little while. You
Yeah.
ever heard of a 50?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a real thing.
it's a thing.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's like an S10, but like the
Okay.
Dodge version. So.
But it was one of my first wrap things. I wrapped the roof on it because it was silver. And then I did the color match taillight. So it made it look like the taillight wasn't there. So I outlined it in silver, did the black night stuff for the taillight, and then did the inside of it silver too.
Inside of the bed?
Inside of the
Oh, I'm thinking of the Dodge 50. I'm sorry.
No.
I was still caught up on it. I was imagining
the taillight.
The taillight, yeah.
The Charger taillight. The
Yeah.
Dart has the same thing all the way from
Oh, like that recessed area
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first few projects, and then we dabbled in a little bit more later on.
Do you still have it?
No, I ended up selling it probably 2 years ago. I had it for 8 years. My first car I ever bought from the dealership. Probably never buy a new car, but we did end up buying a new car again. So I guess it's a curse.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's like a catch-22, right?
Yeah.
Like you start looking at cars, it's like, man, having one that somebody else hasn't owned and like there's no issues and warranties, it's tough.
Yeah. And she's seen it now because this is our first brand new car, and she went and washed it the other day, or washed it at home, and seeing all the scratches and all the little...
What color is that?
It's
Red.
red too.
Red, yeah.
Like a dark red.
Yeah.
It's the new Acura Integra. Bought off the showroom floor. So proud of it.
Yeah.
And then my parents have like a hilly driveway, and it kind of has like a bump. So you kind of like hit it really hard. And there's a certain sweet spot that you can go and it not scrape your bumper. I missed it. And
Yeah.
I gouged the crap out of it.
Ever since then, it's been... We got a door ding over the weekend when we went to the beach for Memorial Day, and it's one of those things.
I get it.
I'd rather buy used with all the scratches and dents already.
Yeah, right. Because then
And not worry about
You
it.
don't have to worry about it, right? Yeah, it just becomes part of it, right? I'm a sucker for new ones too. Well, for my wife, like for me personally, it's like I drive a Jetta station wagon,
Yeah.
and I love it. It's a diesel,
That's sick.
great gas mileage. Like it's got all the stuff in it: leather seats, 7-inch display monitor.
Seat warmers.
Yeah,
Ooh.
heated seats. Like it's
What year is it?
2013.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the second one I've had.
Okay.
I'll probably run it in the ground and get another one just like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when y'all came that one day to do those trucks, I was like wondering what you drove. I guess I never saw it, but I think someone told me that you were in a like Jetta or something.
Yeah, station wagon.
Wagon life.
I said it's a real thing. I can fit a scaffolding in there, 2 boxes, 2 ladders on top, 2 guys,
Yeah.
maybe a couple more.
The ladders on top definitely make a
Oh yeah.
big difference.
Heck yeah.
Because I have my truck, which is a Colorado, and I have a little Giant. I had a mini scaffold that everybody asked me questions about because it folds down and it fits in there, and then my tools, and then it worked out good. But having that roof rack and
Are
throwing
you talking
ladder,
about the scaffolding that folds out?
Yeah.
Like it's got like the 3 steps
Yep.
on it and everything. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just stole one from Chris Mint. Nurse.
You know how many people have asked me about
Dude.
where that is? I've had a guy, I think in England, ask me because he can't order it, and he finally found one, and I saw it on a story.
He was
And I was
probably
like,
jacked.
"Did you find it?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yes." I was like, "Heck yeah!"
They're pretty
I was about to order one for him and ship it to him.
They're
honestly.
sweet. Dude.
Yeah.
They really are nice.
I used one. I haven't used it a lot with the shop. I bought some platforms that I've been sticking with, but
Okay. And those are the ones that have the legs that kick out.
Yep.
The extendable.
Yep.
Those things are sweet too.
And then you can put 2 together.
Yeah.
You put one leg up and slide it together.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, we did that job in Ohio. We had 3 of them lined up
On
on
the
those
side of a
on those
Sprinter.
vans.
Yeah,
Game
sweet.
changer.
Yeah, it was nice. But then on the other side, we were reaching the top, so we were using the scaffolds for those, and it was.
And then I didn't buy my first 8-foot scaffold from Harbor Freight until
The hauler.
probably like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
I did a hauler for,
That was more than 2 months ago.
it's a blur
Yeah,
how busy we are. So.
I get it. And race stuff does that to you. Like they'll start stacking stuff, and
Yeah, he calls and, I need it done. And it's the day before he needs to leave. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do it.
you know, I've made a career out of doing racing stuff, so that's the entire thing has been like that.
Luckily, she's understanding and is there by my side with it, which is awesome. We did one 2 weeks ago, and it was on a Wednesday, and he was releasing it at a local restaurant that same day, and I had to be done with it before 3. I didn't get there till 10, and we rocked and rolled and got it out there.
So are you two working together every day?
Every
So
day.
this is what you do full time?
Yep.
Both of you?
Yep.
Did you know that you were both going to do this?
That was the end goal, I think, when we started it. I come from corporate America. I used to work at Claremont Health.
Got it.
So I was there for about 5 years and then got into the marketing department, public affairs, project management kind of thing. And the environment was okay, but I felt like I couldn't succeed with what I was being dealt with. So I told him, I was like, I gotta quit. I'm coming to work with you.
That's
so
awesome.
we said, let's try it out for a few months. I needed the help anyways.
Were you rapping already?
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Had your business started at that point? Yeah.
Yeah,
So you'd already-
she's the one that pushed me to start it. She's always wanted me to go out on my own. I just buying a house and finances and
Sure.
getting started with life. It's like, do you take that risk? And I finally went for it. About 3 years ago is when the business started. Pretty much.
How did you? I mean, you didn't just walk into it one day and just start. I mean, you had to
No.
start somewhere. What
10
was
years ago.
What was the come up? Where did you start at?
In high school, right after high school, 2014, my buddy had a Mustang California Special, and he wanted to wrap it because he pressure washed it and got too close and nicked the bumper. So he's like, instead of painting the whole thing, he said, let's just sand that spot and wrap it. We ended up wrapping it, me and him and another buddy.
In high school, you guys were still,
Right after high school.
Right after, okay,
So it was the summer after high school.
gotcha.
And he got satin pearl white from 3M, and the car was white, luckily, so it wasn't too drastic.
Sure.
And we started on it, and our goal was to make it down to Myrtle Beach for Mustang Week. So we finished it, I think, on a Friday at like 12 a.m., put it all back together, and then we left for the beach right within the next hour and just drove all night.
Took off.
Yep.
That's cool. So had you done anything up to that point?
No, I think he owned another Mustang or that same Mustang, and we did the roof. And then I think I did my roof on my Dodge Dart that I had. And then that was the only other time that I'd ever knew of wrap or wrapping.
So what about like body work or anything? I mean, did you do anything like that, like when you were in school? You just woke up one day and decided you were going to wrap a car?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Like YouTube? You
Nope.
did? No?
This was, I personally think 2014, there probably wasn't that many how-to videos like
Sure.
it is today.
Yeah.
Or even Instagram. I mean, I followed a few accounts that were businesses. I probably didn't know of Fellers until way later on because we ordered material from Metro back then, and I didn't know Fellers was a thing until probably 3 years after that. So about 2017.
So I think Justin Pate started Rap Institute like 2009, 2010, something like that. But I think, I know in the beginning he was doing DVDs, so social media wasn't a big thing for him either. So
I don't think the Rap Institute had a YouTube channel
don't
in
think so either.
2014. So.
I was thinking maybe CK, maybe like because he was pretty early too, I think.
Yeah,
But I don't remember what year it was. But now it's kind of cool to see it because now it's everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
there's resources for it everywhere.
And people ask me all the time, where's the how-to videos? And like we talked about, putting together a podcast, putting together a how-to video that is for YouTube and, more than 5 minutes long it takes some time. So
Yeah.
is it worth competing with everybody else that has how-to videos, or is it worth even putting the effort into it? Which I share techniques and stuff that I do on my videos, I feel like, and I'm not going to gatekeep, and
Sure.
I know people appreciate it. I see it all the time, and people DM me personally, and they say that is very smart or smooth, and you executed that right, and I just learn as I go.
No, that's cool. That's a good feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people, I mean, if you're not posting every day, then you don't know the effort that goes into it. And there's a lot of effort that goes into it. Like,
Sure.
it's not the easiest thing in the world to, one, just to remember to set up the camera. You know what I mean? Like, I've done it so many times where I'll be rapping and I'll look back and I'll go, dang, I should have set the camera
Or
up.
before you buy a tripod, it's
yeah.
always, let me tape up my iPhone to a ladder.
Or, taking the roll of tape and like squeezing it a little bit and cramming your phone in there. And
Impossible. It's like the angle isn't right or something. It's all it is going on Amazon and buying a tripod. That's all it takes.
So it sounds like you nerd out just a little bit on, like, I imagine your tripod's probably pretty nice.
No,
No.
Amazon special.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, probably a 2-for-1 price deal.
Oh, yeah. Went ahead and got a twofer, huh?
Yeah.
Got them both at one time. So you did the Mustang, and that caught your interest, right? Like,
Yep.
so you were into it.
Yep.
How did it look?
I think it looked pretty dang good.
Really?
Yeah. Compared to nowadays when, I mean, every rapper goes and looks at other rap jobs or cars, and, there's those ones that people shouldn't have started or finished. I mean, it is what it is, but maybe it's someone that just wanted something a little bit better. And ours, I tell her that I don't think our car looked nowhere near like most cars that don't look good, raps type deal. So,
Well, that makes it a little easier to stay with it. You know what I mean? Like, if you come out of the gate hot, it's like you botch one up early, dude, it sucks.
yeah.
I mean-
And this was before YouTube, before videos. We didn't know what a seam was. We would see pictures, or we might have looked up a few videos,
Sure.
but I remember my buddy Garrett was like, they have to put a seam right here. There's just no way. And we knew that before we knew that the material had limits.
Right.
Nowadays, most people that start off rapping don't realize that there's limits. And when we were wrapping the front bumper and it had a hard body line, we eventually fought it. And he said, we're about to seam this. And I'm like, yeah. And no one ever knew, and no one will know unless you're looking for it.
Sure.
And there's limits. And if you know that limit from the get-go, then you obviously are onto something when it comes to rapping, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because that stuff doesn't just come intuitive. Like, it takes something to recognize that.
And a funny thing is my buddy bought 65 feet. We didn't know about direction. So pearl white, one of the doors was turned. And we used one, you use them all the time, the single, you know what I'm talking about. the blades.
Oh, yeah, Exactos. Yeah. I got
So
Oh.
I've always been a red dot, but
Okay.
before I got my red dot, it was a X-Acto blade. And we only used one blade that whole car.
Well, Exactos do stay a little sharper,
Yeah.
a little longer. So, I mean, but that's still rough.
Yeah, one blade.
It better have been a good one.
Yeah, it made it all the way through.
Yeah, because we get some bad ones every once in a while, dude, and it sucks, dude. It's the worst.
I saw you guys' bucket one time on one of your stories or something. I was like, I've never really used one of those until, or last time I ever used one was on my first car, because I went and purchased a red dot. And to be honest, that red dot has been the same red dot since that car.
Yeah, they're tight, they're consistent, and they're smooth and they're cheap enough. Like, we were looking at them the other day. Even the cartridges are very reasonably priced. You know what I mean? Like, they're not asking too much for those.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to like comparable. I mean, hell, there's even shittier knives that are more expensive. And
Yeah.
it's like, dang.
It's a metal. Is it metal? Yeah. And then I've had the same one for going on 8 years, and
The
I've never
same
lost
one.
it.
No way.
Same one.
You
He will
can-
go crazy if he can't find it, though. He's like, I gotta find it.
Yeah.
That's my knife.
My clicking, you could tell the sound difference
Sure.
from the wear
The
out.
wear out, yeah.
And then where your thumb sits on it is no longer chrome.
Josh, can you pull up the video of those blades?
Should we?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I will say this, so just to be safe, if anybody is sensitive to blades or sharp objects, or just be aware that the next little bit is probably you. If you were triggered by things like that, this is your warning to not watch. Now, I know that sounds funny,
But you have to put that in there.
but I posted a video and it went viral, like viral, and it took off really quick. And I was like, oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was like, okay, this is this is too much, too quick.
Yeah.
Like it's not that good of a video. You know what I mean? Like I knew something was funny about it, and I couldn't. It took a little while to figure it out because it like shot up to like 20,000 comments and like 40,000 likes. And I'm like, what in the world is going on?
This is the video I brought up.
So I'm probably going to just mute the sound, actually.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we don't get a copyright strike.
No, you're fine. But this is me and my dad.
And if you can imagine 525,600 minutes being played in the back of this song.
So we're in his garage, and so I've never thrown away a blade ever.
That is wild.
Like since we started, like we just keep up with them, and so we've got buckets full of these blades, and it was hard to like try to show that like how many we actually had. This was just one dump from a cardboard box that we had up underneath the table. I mean, this is nothing, and the people went crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was insane. Like some of the comments and the stuff that they talk about.
Reuse them. Something
It gets a little darker than that.
Oh.
So evidently, like the whole cutting thing is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like it's an addiction, and like it's something to kind of be a little bit more mindful of.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't know. I didn't. You know, it's just one of those things you learn as you're doing videos that like, hey. And so I went back and did another video after the fact. It was just kind of like, hey, look, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I've never been introduced to anything like that. I'm new to this.
Yeah, the internet is a crazy place.
It really is, dude. I was not expecting it, but yeah, the blade thing is cool. We talked about doing it on here, like just covering the whole thing in blades and then doing epoxy over it. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be unique.
Yeah, just something different. But it is clean in here and it's kind of subtle, so I don't know.
It might reflect the light though.
Right.
Yeah.
And, well, we wrapped this mat. This was silver before, and it looked pretty cool, but it was scratched up. So we're like, we got to cover it in something.
No, it looks good.
Yeah, the whole studio went pretty good. It's been pretty smooth. Like I was started to tell you earlier when we first started working on it, Josh called me at like 2 a.m. and he was like, "Man, it feels like a funeral home in here." And I was like, "I was just there. It didn't feel like that at all." And he was like, "Man, it's kind of dark in here. It's kind of creepy."
That's why I wore blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
liven it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, when he called me, it was like, "Oh man, don't worry. I got knickknacks everywhere, dude. I got pictures and I got shit. We'll be good." So I bring all this stuff in, and he's like, "No, we can't do that, Dick." So half of it got pushed back out, but I got to keep a couple little things. I'm pretty excited about it.
No, the School of Rap thing is cool behind us, and
It definitely helped. Like the stuff on the wall definitely helps it 100%.
My wife loved to see it go out the door too.
Yeah.
She was like, "You want to get some of this other stuff? We can just. I'm sure it'll look great up there."
I think is it Brandon? I can't remember his business name. He's got a transit that matches his fleet transit for their business. Brandon.
Is he local?
No, he's out of a different state.
Oh, okay.
But his shop is cool. It's got a bunch of green, and he's actually hung up drapes or big banners, basically, instead of wrapping the walls.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, Blake.
Blake.
Blake Matson.
Yeah. So
Well, that's what I was going to tell you earlier about the scaffolding. That he was the first one that I seen with the fold-out
Yeah.
scaffolding. And then,
I think he might have been the first one I saw too. And
Yeah.
I was like, I got to snatch one of them.
Dude.
Perfect height for transits.
Yep.
The width is perfect for 53, 52-inch panels. 60. It's a little tight or a little rough, but that's part of it.
no, it is. And I went up to his shop. So last time I was in St. Paul, I went up there, and he's pretty clever. He's got some cool stuff. He's that whole setup with the banners and everything. Like,
Yeah, he showed the video of how he has like, it looks so clean and simple, but then everything's behind the banners, and it is actually very smart
It
to
is.
make your shop or your area that you work and make videos in look clean.
oh yeah,
But then you got the banners hanging to hide all the
you
scaffolds.
just pull it back. Yeah, you pull it back. So it was cool to see all that. And he's super laid back. He drives like crazy. He scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Wait, like we went to dinner and he was like, "You mind if you don't mind going fast, do you?" And like he's super dry. Like he's just, I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm fine. I got a racing background, bro. You're not gonna scare me." My wife texts me and we've got like this Life 360 thing on our phone.
And you went over a certain speed.
And she texts me and she was like, "What are you doing? You're going 120 down the highway. You need to let up." And I'm like,
That's
leaning
not even
over.
me.
I'm like leaned over, like, damn, this thing rides good, dude.
What was he driving?
I think he's got an Audi. God, what is that thing? It's a 4-door Audi, but it's nice. And
quick.
yeah, it's yeah. And he's got it's all blacked out too. Like it looks good.
But back to the knickknacks. I think he has a Transit that he wrapped, and then you can get the smaller scaled versions, and he wrapped his little mini scaled thing, and it's very cool.
And he's into knickknack stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
he's got like a Pez collection. Like he's like a big Pez collector. So he gets it.
Yeah.
You know,
I wish they were that small, right?
like the haulers.
Oh yeah.
Well, so Jamie, originally that's where I got this idea. Jamie Mullican from Rap Artist, he's got them all in his lobby. So like they do a lot of the artists for Nashville, and he does. He'll buy up like just like these, but they're blank. They don't have anything on them, and then he'll put whatever trailer that he done, and he's got them up everywhere.
No, that's
Dude,
sick.
it's cool.
Yeah.
He did Trump's bus, and I actually think he did Trump and Biden's bus when they were. So he's got those wrapped in his lobby too, and his business model's cool, dude. He does. I mean, he's doing artists, you know.
I showed her a few days ago, and I was like, look at all these Bradley Gilbert, Morgan Wallen, just wild stuff.
Dude, it's nuts. And you'll be up there, and those guys will just walk in.
Yeah.
You know, like it's no big deal. Like I was there the first couple times I went. I can't remember if it was the first or second time, but he was like, "Hey man, we got to go hang some chrome on some garage doors. Like, are you good with that?" And I was like, "Heck yeah." We're on the way there, and he was like, "All right, now look, don't get weird, right? Like, just he's a normal guy." And I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm around famous people all the time. It's not a big deal." But there's a difference between like Chase Elliott and Kid Rock. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So when Kid Rock comes walking up, it's like, oh,
okay, this is a whole different level.
I don't know if I'm good with famous people, man.
Keep it cool.
Make sure he likes me, so then I can ask for his signature.
Yeah. And I wear it like, so when I go on job sites, I black hat, gray shirt.
Yeah, I think I've always noticed that.
Black pants. Like it's just, that's what you see.
Whose phone is that? Oh, that's yours.
Oh, sorry.
I really don't want to send your wife to voicemail.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Just text
Tell
her.
her I'm sorry.
Just text her. Let her know.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was an experience. Like it caught like big time caught me off guard. I wasn't ready for it at all.
So he didn't
But
tell
the
you-
cop thing. So no, yeah. So I'm always in black and gray, and I wear a uniform. So, and I do that. So it's because I do work for other companies.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I try to stay sterile and neutral, and I can go from one job to the other, and they don't I don't carry business cards. I don't have a website.
Yep.
Never done any of that. Never branded. Just because that was our demographic, you know, and so that has just become what I do. Even when I go, like if I was to come help you, that's what I would do. I would show up in a gray shirt, black pants, and that would just be it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. When you're contracting for multiple companies, and you know, some people are like, "Why are you doing work for here? Why are you doing work for here?" I mean, if you're a good installer and they need you, and you show up on time and you get the job done, then
100%. I'm for hire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter to me how they produce it and who their customer is. I don't care. I just want to get paid. You know, I'm here to do it, and then I'm out the door.
Yeah.
But while I was up there, you know, he comes walking up, and he, you know, in person, like he kind of looked like a model, to be honest with you. Like his hair was all pulled back and ball cap on, and like dressed really nice. And so at first I didn't recognize who he was, and I heard him talk, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's for sure Kid Rock. And then he pushed up his sleeve, and had a big gold watch on, you know, and then pulled his shirt back a little bit and had a big chain. I was like, okay, it's yeah, for sure this is
it's all clicking now.
Yeah.
And he didn't give you a warning at all.
No, I didn't have a heads up. Well, on the way there, Jamie mentioned it. He was like, hey, look, you know, this is Kid Rock's place. And then when we pulled up, his place is like it's a replica of the White House. So it's real obvious when you pull up.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, okay, this is Kid Rock's house. But it was under construction, so I didn't think we would see him. But yeah, he came walking up, and super cool guy. But it was like, I get it all the time. The mustache doesn't help at all, but it like I look like a cop, right?
Yeah.
Like I get it all the time. Like, and so it was an interesting exchange between us all.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, no, if you ever get a chance, and if you're ever in Nashville, definitely go by and check out Jamie's place.
And that's not where the School of Raps is.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Jamie Shop's cool because it's really not that big of a place, but dude, he can put so much stuff in there. Like the angles of the shop are really strange, and when you look at it, you're like, there's no way you can get that much stuff in here. But he'll stack 4 buses, trailers, all kinds of stuff. And when it comes time to do the school, he's got this giant curtain. He just pulls it back, designates that area for the school, and then that's it.
Seems to be the curtain is one thing to do in a shop.
It's the way. It's the way. I wish we would have put one up out here where the racks are.
I'm surprised y'all.
We
But
will.
I'm sure the price of one of them things.
Dude, it's so cheap.
Oh, is it?
Dude,
Not
it
that
blow your mind how cheap
Okay.
it is. Like when he told me how big, and his is massive. I mean, it's got his shop is at least 60 foot, from wall to wall. And
18 in the
yeah,
middle.
it got to be. I mean, it's massive. It's a huge banner. And when he told me, I can't remember exactly what the price is. I don't want to quote him, but
Yeah.
it was like when he said it, I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
Like,
compared to the wrap prices that we look at. And
yeah,
printing off certain things.
dude, it's
'Cause
double sided and like it's all like fitted and it like it came ready to go. And because I asked, I was like, "Did you print that?" And he was like, "Hell no." He's like, "There's companies that do that stuff and they're dirt cheap." I was like, "Damn."
Because I told her when we got our shop that, we're not permanent here, but we could potentially be permanent. And I was like, maybe we should just do a big banner on the side. And
That was what Blake said. He was like, "Dude, if I leave here, I just pull these down, take them with me, and if I need more or not, I don't need this much. You can just adjust."
Yeah.
And his pattern is cool too because it's 360, and it's a repeating pattern, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
So he did a good job with that. I thought that was pretty cool. So we were talking about the Dodge. Well, first you wrapped the Mustang. Did you have the Dodge at that point?
Yep.
It's really critical to the story to know that the Dodge Dart was around.
no, I know.
Yeah, I got to know that. So you wrapped the Mustang. You loved it.
Yep.
You went to Mustang week.
Yep.
Everybody else loved it.
Oh, yeah, they didn't know it was a wrap
Yep.
at the end of the day.
So you felt like $1 million.
Oh, yeah. People, that's a wrap? No. I mean, yeah. You don't know, do you?
So you got back and you were inspired. I mean, that's right after high school. So were you considering college or were you?
I was in college.
Where?
I went to a 2-year school in Rock Hill for just business, entrepreneurship.
So you knew you wanted to own your own business.
I think that was just like the, coast at the moment, right after high school. So I just figured I'd do the 2-year degree and see where things play out and kind of go from there.
So you didn't really have any ambition of owning your own business at that point?
Originally, no.
No? You just kind of took it as a filler and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school or even in high school. So,
like no
think-
jobs or anything, like no real direction. Like
no, I mean, I worked since I was 16 and
okay,
just kept trucking and getting through and making stuff happen. So,
gotcha.
went to the 2-year school and only did a year and never went back. And so, technically, no degree at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool. Nothing wrong with that. So you're in college, you got the Dart, and wrapped a Mustang.
Yep.
What next?
Um,
How'd you get into rapping? Because you had to get strokes in somewhere, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't just one Mustang and then
a few roofs.
yeah.
I mean, I put it on my personal social media, Instagram, Facebook. Started doing a few roofs, or if people would ask, I would do it. Or, hey, my buddy, can do it. And maybe a
while you're
hood.
in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Do a hood here and there. No full wrap until my second car, which was a Toyota FRS. And it was for a stance guy that was pretty popular before Instagram fame was a thing. He was Instagram fame originally.
Gotcha.
And my buddy, I commented on the guy's post because it was red with a overfender kit, and the kit was black. And he posted it, said, "Who wants to wrap this?" He had like 50,000 followers at the time. And I commented on there and tagged my buddy Garrett and said, "Let's do it," or "This could be us" type deal. And
Yeah.
I guess he saw the comment and he actually DM'd me and he said, "Would you guys want to wrap the car?" I was like, "Well, yeah, of course we'd love to wrap a car for someone that has 50,000 followers. This could be like a start for something." And we talked back and forth and lining up because my buddy Garrett was at USC. I was in Rock Hill at the 2-year school, and it fell, I think, in the summer, so he wasn't in school and I wasn't in school. So I was working full time, and I took some time off, and me and him drove to Fayetteville and stayed at his house.
No
and
way.
wrapped the guy's car in his one single car garage.
Wasn't sketchy at all?
We pulled up, and I will always remember this. We pulled up, and my buddy Garrett says, "Are we going to be able to pull this off?" I'm like, "Yes, we're going to pull this off."
Yeah.
So we go and knock on the door and introduce each other. His name's John, or Johnny. can't remember. One of the others.
I just really know him as Double Cup.
Yeah, Double Cup. Double Cup Boys was in Florida. They were a bunch of stance guys. Fayetteville had their own like little clique of stance guys. Camber running 14 wides on cars and stuff like that. And we walked into the house, and he hands me the over fender for the front fender with the hardest curve you could imagine that a lot of people probably struggle with. And he said, let's start with this. I think that was the test run. And he laid it on the kitchen table, and we just started right then and there. And if I didn't pull that off, I'm sure he would have been like, let's rethink this, and you're not going to do the whole car.
So did you guys bring the material with you, or did he have the material?
He purchased it. It was 3M Kelly Green, which they no longer make that color. It was either that or 3M, the really dark purple. I don't remember the name of 3M's 1080 dark purple. It was like raspberry something.
Gotcha.
It was either those two, but it was a car from red to green with the over fender kit, 2 spoilers, and that was my second car I ever wrapped.
That's crazy. And it was full wrap. You guys wrapped the whole thing?
Whole thing. Single car garage with one little light at the top with a heat gun, and yeah, we just kept on going.
So is he still wrapping today, or?
He came about a year ago. I wrapped a Viper, and he took some time off and kind of helped me on that.
Yeah.
Just to bring back some memories of working on something.
So he's still
again.
into it?
Yeah, he wishes he could do it. He's waiting for me to hit it big and quit his job maybe one day, but he lives down in Columbia. So.
I gotcha. So, I mean, did you guys just grow up together, just best
Yeah.
friends kind of thing?
We've been friends since kindergarten.
Oh, that's cool.
And we were both in each other's weddings. I was his only person in his wedding. He got married during COVID, so he couldn't have that big of a crowd.
Oh, I gotcha.
So
I thought you were trying to say he didn't have any friends.
no.
Damn, Garrett.
Oh, no, he has friends,
Oh, I'm just
but
kidding.
So yeah, we wrapped that car. It took us 4 days. That was before I knew really anything. The biggest thing was running out of material, because nowadays I pre-cut everything and know what I have left over versus just measure, cut, measure, cut, measure, cut, and not keeping track. We ended up wrapping that car, left, everything looked good, everything was good. He ended up going to, I don't know if they do it anymore, it's called Dank Fest, tuner, bunch of car shows that were originally starting out before Slammed Enough got big. Went there, and then I ended up getting 2 more cars after that when he went to that show.
So you were asking if she remembered. Were you all together then?
Mm-hmm.
We've been together since 2014.
2014.
So she's seen the progression ever since I started.
Did you graduate in 2014?
I graduated in 13.
13. Okay. So did you know each other from high school? Did you
No.
grow up? No.
he slid in the DMs.
Oh,
Yeah, Instagram.
let's go. No, that's cool. That's cool. At least from the same town. Like, are y'all?
Nope.
No.
I mean, he was South Carolina. I was North Carolina.
Ah, gotcha.
I lived on the edge, county over, but a state line over.
Gotcha. Well, you said Gastonia, and that's
York County is
okay.
Where I grew up. She grew up in Gastonia.
There was a race team. We'd done a bunch of stuff down that way for. Remember what that was?
JD Motorsports.
Yeah, JD Motorsports. They're in Gastonia. They were a pretty big deal for us for a little while.
Yep.
We were making that drive quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hollywood, they're right there too.
You use that term
I
loosely.
drive down there sometimes, but they were a big deal for us. So you guys got together, and you're wrapping cars at this point, right? I mean, you're in it.
That second car was the FRS red to green. It went to a car show. I had a guy DM me on Instagram, because originally my first ever business account was Green's Window Tint and Wrap.
Okay.
And
So you're a 10 or 2?
I dabbled with it
Yeah.
at the beginning. I haven't touched it very much since.
gotcha.
It's just not something. Wet install is just not a thing for me.
So
I
no
think.
PPF or anything like that?
I'll window frost and stuff, but I just, as long as I know that stroke is down and I can walk away from it, it's just easier for me to not mess with the wet
For
stuff.
sure.
So we ended up getting another car, and then I was hoping to hit it big with the second car we did and get the traction from the following and everything, and everybody dreams of that, and
Sure.
it doesn't work out. But I ended up getting a small shop in Rock Hill while I was still working full time, and I wrapped a few cars in there and did some roofs here and there, but that was about 6 months, and then it just didn't work out, so we canceled the lease and just started dabbling here and there.
And you were just doing color change stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like you were.
I never knew what a plotter was. I didn't know nothing commercial.
So even with your tent, your hand cutting tent,
Yep.
you're okay.
Yeah. So
That's what I was gonna say. We've gotten to the point now with the color change stuff. We're starting to like pre-cut kits. Like we'll use whatever software we're using. We'll take and cut the pre-cut them, just like we'll take a PPF template and then
expand edges.
expand it, and do the extra edges. So, and that's helpful. I mean, that's pretty big, especially for like nesting material, saving material, knowing what you're going to use before the car ever gets there. You can really dial that in.
100%.
Yeah.
I watched a guy's video. His name's Hunter, All Pro Window Films. They did a car with a certain material.
I said yes, like I know Hunter. Let me clear that up real quick. I've heard a lot about Hunter. Actually, I think one of the guys reached out to us, and I can't promise he's going to be on the podcast, but I think there's a good chance.
I think they did a Model 3 with some funky material, but it only came in 50 feet, I think. And they didn't want to order 2 rolls, so they plotted the fenders, and it was directional. I think the lowest amount of material I ever did a Model 3 for was like 55 feet. So he really crammed, and he used the program to really make sure that they used the material the best that they could.
Well, and once you do it once,
you got the file forever.
yeah, you're kind of hooked, though. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're saving so much material, and like you say, that 10 feet, that can make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, especially if you hiccup on a film that's out of the country.
Exactly. Or out of stock, or whatever.
Yeah.
You can run into all kinds of issues with it. So, yeah, no, it's useful for sure. So you did the shop for a little while.
Yep.
Didn't like it. Didn't work out. Wasn't kicking it.
It just, the timing wasn't right.
Yeah.
Now where we are now, if I would have known about, commercial or just a plotter and doing lettering on vehicles and stuff, filling in that gap to where only doing color changes. There's models that people have of businesses that do only color changes.
For sure.
And it does work, but you have to, get after it year after year after year and know that you're the color change place. Or you can be known as the color change guy, but if you want to dabble in commercial, there's nothing wrong with that too.
I think there's a place in Roxborough. I think it's in Roxborough. It's Daydream or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, you remember what the name of that place was? DreamWorks. That's the name of it. You ever heard of DreamWorks?
Yeah, he DM'd me about doing I think it was a hauler at one time.
Yeah.
Because he has a race team.
The owner does?
DreamWorks does,
Yeah.
Or he sponsors a race team, and he needed sponsors redone on the hauler or something.
I think they do a lot of professional athletes. I think that's
they do a bunch of color changes, door jams, big jobs like that. But he also has I want to say
like a commercial side of his business.
No, I'm saying the race team he sponsors, or if he has a sponsorship that he does, it's either a funny car or something.
Okay.
He does drag racing, so they have a hauler with his logo and stuff on it.
Gotcha. But I say that to say that, have you ever been to Roxborough? There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it is not the place
And
for
people drive from Charlotte, from Atlanta, anywhere.
like
come
he is.
to him.
Yeah, I know. And then I think that's pretty cool. So it's tough because when you're starting out, it's super helpful to have, it's to diversify a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's useful. I mean, you look like we were talking about King Tut earlier. He's got like 4 or 5 businesses going on down there.
Yeah, he's got Tesla mods. He does bumper aftermarket kits, LED stuff, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's got the King Tut, and then he's PPFing and a bunch of other stuff.
He's got a lot going on.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
So, but he's in Raleigh. You know where
that's the heart of everything.
He could pick one and just plow. You know what I mean? So, I'm excited. I think he's going to come up and do one with us too.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
cool.
that'd be
Steven's cool.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
We didn't go there until probably
A year ago, maybe?
maybe 2 years.
2 years ago.
I went there. He had a GMC Yukon for me to wrap. Knocked that out, and then he threw me a Tesla knocked that out. Threw me another Tesla, knocked that out.
He's the Tesla guy. That's pretty much all he does.
So did I do 3 cars that week?
I think so. It was the Yukon color change, the Flame Tesla, and then was it a Pokemon or was that a
So I did 3 cars for him in 4 days.
Back to back to back. Yeah. Were you staying down there?
Yeah, we got a hotel and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Because that's a pretty good haul for you, right?
Oh yeah, it's almost
like 3 hours?
3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah. So stopped doing the shop, started freelancing.
Nope.
No?
I worked at a car wash for going on 7 years when I was rapping, and just messed with rap here and there, and then
You say a car wash?
yeah, Auto Bell Car Wash.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked for them for 7 years, and I was a manager. I thought I wanted to be a site manager and run the whole car wash, but it's not something that ended up happening. So I was rapping in between and doing jobs here and there. And after the shop, I had, I think, 1 color change. It was another FRS with a wide body kit that came from the original green one that I did. And then I was actually working at Auto Bell, and Mikey was getting his car washed. And
Mikey Owens? That's probably the only time he's ever got his car washed.
yeah,
That's probably it. Probably the one time he was like, I'm going to go get my car washed today.
so
It was meant to be, though.
I know.
it was his Toyota Tundra that had black ink wraps down the side. And I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, man."
He was scouting. That's what he was doing. I guarantee it. He was
Probably.
hunting. Because I've thought about it. I've drove by there. I mean, that's not an easy job. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've never done it, so I'm not. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, those guys are moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like once that thing gets to a certain point, those dudes come out and they're, it's all about speed and quality.
Yeah, and then you're outside, direct sunlight, no cover.
Khakis.
Black
khakis.
top.
Yeah.
with
I was a
the-
manager, so you had to wear pants.
Yeah.
It was a professional look.
Sure. And it is. Like when you drive by there, I mean, it's the real deal, but those guys come out and they knock it out and you're
So
done.
I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, man, I can do some raps." I showed him a few pictures, the FRS and a few other pictures. And he said,
He pulled that cigarette out of his mouth.
"Yeah." Well, he
You
actually-
got it.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah. No, he actually shot me down.
Did he really?
He really did.
No way.
He said he didn't have the time to train me for commercial.
No, I believe that.
And he said, "Go up here down the road in Gastonia. There's a sign shop." And I went there and applied, and I got the job and worked there for a little bit and got my
That's crazy.
commercial stuff getting down and kind of go from there.
So when you went in there, you didn't have any experience with. I mean, you only had experience with color change, no commercial.
No, I've never decaled a truck and made sure it was straight.
Sure.
I mean, I used a tape measure just to measure a fender or door, but I've never made sure a panel was straight or nothing.
So were they cool with that? I mean, was that something they understood?
Yeah, they had a guy there. He taught me a lot of stuff, and we worked well together. And they had color changes here and there because most sign shops sometimes get the random color change. There's nothing wrong with that. And
No, they'll get a customer that they're doing business with them anyway, and they say, "Oh, you can change the color of my car." I mean, yeah, it's common.
so I worked there for 4 years and learned some things, and ended up leaving just because the environment wasn't the best, and
Sure.
just needed something different, and kind of went from there.
So do you think it had anything to do with like, you taking the classes, the entrepreneurial classes, and then you got a little taste of it there for a minute, like you seen that freedom, and then, you had a shop. I mean, you were seeing it.
It was there. It
Yeah.
just wasn't executed the correct way at the beginning.
Sure.
I think it's the experience. A lot of people lack the, either business experience or just life experience too. But then you got to have the experience of doing the cars and rapping. If people are bringing you cars, you need to know what you're doing.
100%.
So a lot of people kind of mess up on that end.
So when you left, were you planning on? Did you have any plans of going to get another job or?
No, I think that's when I never realized about subcontracting.
Okay.
And I obviously knew Mikey over those years, but we never had talked since I talked to him that one day. And I tried another shop, wasn't happy. I tried another shop. it was just myself. I could tell that, which I can dish out some pretty quick raps. I feel like my speed's pretty there, and I feel like they were gonna almost take advantage of me, because when you start a new job somewhere, you almost want to like overdo it, and they saw the potential of what they lacked in installers before. So I told her, I said, I think I'll get taken advantage of here, not getting the money that I think I'm worth. And I left there and ended up starting Snap That's a Wrap.
So where did the name come from?
I was just...
So you got to start the other story first.
Which one?
Kind of like go from the very beginning of
What we talked about?
after Image 360.
Oh, yeah. So I call it a quarter life crisis.
Oh, okay.
Leaving Image, well, it's Image 360. It's a franchise,
Okay.
signs and stuff.
Yeah.
I just wasn't happy. I didn't know I didn't know where I needed to be in life, and, just stress.
How old were you?
25.
It's important to know nobody at 25 knows where
No,
they're
I know.
gonna be.
No.
Yeah, but we had just bought a house, and,
Yeah. So you were feeling it.
oh, yeah.
The pressure.
When I told my boss where I was, like, hey, I'm buying a house, like, this needs to be 100%.
Well,
And
he was
he-
coming home really stressed and really was worried about paychecks bouncing and that kind of thing. So he was under a lot of stress.
Yeah. So we ended up going to a friend's house, just hanging out, and some weed was involved, and I smoked some weed, and it just didn't click for me, and it just...
Did you smoke before then? Like,
Mm-mm.
I hadn't smoked since like high school.
okay.
And
So you weren't. It wasn't like you were a regular smoker. It was just right time, right place.
and the timing with that was, I was wanting to start my own business, and like trying to come up with a name and everything, and I actually came up with the name at that time, and we had filed for the business name and everything, and we went to that party, and I guess all the stress of life, everything just clicked, and I just went into a deep psychosis. And
At the party?
no,
Well, it started at the party.
yeah. So a few days later, I just couldn't snap out of it. It was just like nothing was clicking. Nothing would just snap me out of it, and she started getting worried. So we ended up going to the hospital for a little bit.
What does that look like when you say psychosis? Like just a trance? Like you're just completely...
So he basically loses touch with reality almost. Like he's still here, he's still him. You can still have a conversation with him, but it's just like, I guess the best way I can explain it is use an example. So the first night when I did take him to the hospital, we left AMA, against medical advice, signed a form saying, if anything happens, you can't hold the hospital liable or anything like that. So we went home and we were in bed, fell asleep. Well, he wakes me up freaking out, and he's like, I just had a dream. God's talking to me.
Yeah.
He told me that your dad is going to die and that your mom is going to die. Are you going to be okay? I'm like, what?
Like I was predicting things or something. I don't know.
Like, are you close with your parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just like my mind was running. And I was actually at another shop working, and I ended up going to work that day, and it just didn't click. I had worried myself to death, and I drove back home, and then we ended up going to the hospital, and I was there for a little bit.
Well,
Was it like a seizure or something? Like, because that's what it... Like, so our daughter, she got diagnosed with like acute seizures, and like every once in a while she would just kind of zone out. Like just kind of, you wouldn't... Like she's there, like you said, she's there, but she's not there. Like it's just, you know what I mean?
No.
That's what it was. So nothing like that. And they tested you for everything.
They
and
tested every drug on the market, I'm sure, and nothing came up. Even the weed didn't even come up because I'm not a regular smoker.
Right.
And none of the doctors knew what was going on. And
What about you? Like, did you know that something was off?
I was super paranoid.
Yeah.
I just thought everybody was out to get me, or
Really?
just nothing was clicking. I think COVID played a big factor
Sure.
too, with the stress of, everybody going through things, and it can happen to anybody basically, is what I would suggest to tell people.
So dang, that's crazy, dude. Because how do you bounce back from that?
Well, we had dropped and talked to a a logo designer, because I came up with the name Snap That's a Wrap, and then we told him some references of logos, and then once I got out of the hospital, I kind of just didn't work for maybe a month or two.
Well, I want to say you were contracting with Mikey a little bit, and then one day on your way home, you decided to turn around and go get lunch, and that's when you had your wreck.
Yeah, so then I got in a car wreck.
Head-on collision.
And nothing was just working out, it seemed like. Dang. So that was the beginning of the business, starting the name, getting the logo. I ended up getting a car wreck, head-on collision. I had just wrapped my truck, and I was in a boot for 4 months, and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
Were y'all married yet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been married since 18.
Okay. So man, that's crazy. So, like, you knew you want to start the business. You knew you were going to leave the place that you were working. So you're doing a little contracting, stress, all the stuff. And it just, you get the psychosis thing, then you get in the car wreck.
Yep.
All at one time.
Oh, yeah.
Within a year.
Yeah, probably within 6 months. So I got out, got the name going.
Doing a lot of contract
Doing
work.
a lot of contracting with Mikey, and I think the traction was building up with the social media and the posting, and Mikey gave me a hard time about posting the videos and putting the tripod up.
Sure.
And,
Well, Mikey came from a world where it wasn't okay.
Yeah, I know.
Like it was, I worked with Mikey in like 2009, 2008, 2009, and he was, dude, they were doing it, dude. They were putting out the work. I mean, the amount of work that was going through Graphic Systems back then was unreal.
Yeah. So for Mikey to take me on, I felt pretty good, considering that I had a few years of experience with commercial and not too much, but
When Mikey don't pull any punches, there's no bullshit with Mikey. I mean, you know where you stand with Mikey. If he thinks it, he's gonna say it. You know, and people don't last long around him. One, just because he's blunt and honest and straightforward like that, and he'll tell you, "Hey, look, quit. You suck.
yeah.
This is not any good."
And he came from Image. What was it called?
Mikey,
Yeah.
Graphic Systems.
Graphic Systems.
Yeah, he
So-
trained. He worked with Odie Wilson, and Odie Wilson was old school.
Yeah.
You know, he was hard nosed. He's
So-
military background. Just it was that way. It was his way or no way. I mean,
yeah.
it just wasn't. It wasn't going to happen. And I'm pretty sure that's where Mikey started. Mikey's story. He went through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He earned his stripes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people look at Mikey and they're like, "Oh man, he just fell into this deal with ProCal, and he just he's got a nah." It didn't happen that way.
There's more to the story.
100%. He's another one. I'd love for him to come up and
Yeah.
sit in.
So it's a good thing to, it's always being the young buck walking in. So
Sure.
his crew that originally, when I started working there, I'd worked with one guy for a while, and I wanted to earn their respect, but I feel like I didn't need to, because
Sure.
I could dish out what I was putting out, and we just kept flowing and getting stuff knocked out. I mean, we were wrapping transit vans, no time, full roof, full sides in a day, and all types of stuff. So just getting that momentum and that speed, when I already had the speed, I just knew that it just always was just going to keep clicking and clicking and keep going. So
Gotcha. So when did you get your shop?
Last November.
last
Last
November.
year.
So are you going on a year, or will
This
it
year
be?
will be a year, yeah.
Yeah, this year will be one.
I was working at the house, and then if I had a big project, I worked at a few different shops, and hey, can I just rent out this space for a little bit?
Gotcha.
And they said, yeah, sure, that's fine. And we just rented out a few days and do a job, and started the business, and building the traction and getting the phone calls. Everybody, as soon as you think you're on Google, you think people start calling, and that's not true. Sometimes people spend a fortune to get the phone calls, and I just kept being persistent with it and kept going, and now we get the phone calls every day.
So what point did you come into working full time? Because y'all are working.
Yeah.
You're there all the time now,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah.
I quit my job in September, so right before we got the shop.
Gotcha.
And learned the Adobe Illustrator, designing, that kind of thing. setting up the files, learning the plotter, learning how to weed it out, tape it, all those things.
Yeah, I mean, she was 100% new. I mean, she knew how to hold a panel to pull the backing paper over the years, but she had never done anything like that. So,
Were you excited?
I was. I'm a computer geek at the end of the day, so I like learning new programs. So Adobe Illustrator has been really fun to kind of learn, and YouTube is a big help.
Sure. Yeah, well, all the platforms now, like TikTok and Excel. I don't know if you've ever
my gosh.
nerded out on TikTok,
Yes.
like Excel on TikTok. It's unreal.
Yes,
Like
the things you can do with Excel nowadays, it is
insane.
unreal.
Yeah, it's cool. It's watching some of those videos too. Those guys are quick and they'll like the shortcuts and stuff. So. But yeah, so you are working together. You got the shop, and what was the deciding factor there? So you quit your job and you didn't have the shop. You were at home still, right?
yeah, we had a extra bedroom. I had a little table. I didn't buy the plotter until literally probably a little bit more than a year ago because I was still contracting. I mean,
Do you contract now?
I mean,
now and
if
then.
people call, I'll go and do a job. Mikey calls me every now and then, and we just kind of keep, back and forth helping each other out. I stayed contracting, and, the phone calls started rolling in more and more and more. So it was like, how do I pick the right time to not contract and,
Sure.
Go for having the shop and, building up my own client list type deal.
So are you primarily color change or more commercial?
Right now,
Yeah.
both.
Yeah, it's about an even spread.
Yeah.
Do
Well-
you lean one way or the other?
Hmm.
No, you don't have a preference.
Hmm.
Doesn't really matter as long as you're sticking.
Yeah, as long as we're lane.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So, what about you? I mean, if you're on that side of it, like, are you happy to hear when they call and they say, "Hey, we want you to do some graphics"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to answer the phone as much as I can just because when he's installing, it takes time
Sure.
for him to answer. Only thing that I have some trouble with is like when they tell me a certain car or whatever year, I'm still learning how to calculate the square footage quickly.
Sure.
So trying to get the pricing out to them while they're on the phone is a little bit more difficult. He's able to do it. Like, he's just like, okay, so this is this, what would be this? So it's just learning that aspect of it. But I actually enjoy when people are serious about it.
Yeah.
So
There's a video that said when you're at a wrap shop and you get DMs, it's like, how much? Like, the amount of people that will call you and just bull crap is
Tire kickers, man, they're the worst. They burn up so much time.
so much time. And it's literally the longest conversations you have.
yeah.
I found I heard somebody they told me this a few years ago. Tell them to come to the shop. That's
Yep.
the best way
We
to
do.
know. Yeah.
I say that
Nowadays,
every time.
It's just if someone comments or if someone emails or however, I'm like, let's do an in-person consultation. Please come to our shop. The address is this. That like weeds out a good majority.
Probably
of
like
people.
90% of people.
'Cause, I mean, you go and buy an iPhone online, but some people still go pick it up. They're going to go to the store and get it right away versus waiting on it to
100%.
come in the mail. So,
Yeah. Is there a lot of graphic shops down in the Gastonia area?
no.
Sign shops,
Yeah. So this
they'll do some wraps,
Sure.
more
but they're not
commercial.
solely wrap.
Wrap shops.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are solely a wrap shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you like it that way?
Yeah.
Like, is it? Yeah.
People ask, do I window tint?
Yeah.
I say no. I mean, I'm mechanically inclined to where I can do a bunch of stuff to cars, but I feel like don't sell something until you're 100%. And, 10 years is when I started wrapping 10 years ago. The business started 3 years ago. So 7 years of wrapping before I started a business name and offering a service to the public. That's a big step to like have that experience behind your belt before
100%.
you just go in for it.
Now, did you do any like formal training? Did you ever go to like an Avery class or 3M class?
Nope.
None at all.
I've never been,
Any interest?
preferably not.
No? You don't like them?
As your trainer.
The
said
paper
before.
test is his thing, like the
Sure.
actual.
It's everybody's,
physical-
just so we're clear. It
Not
is.
me. I
Every
would
si-
rather. I'm kill a test.
What I'm
but-
saying, like, I shouldn't say everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 99% of the people that come in there, they're like, hey, man, I got no problem taking everything in here. How's the written test? I've never, ever had anybody come in and be like, I cannot wait to take that written test. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill this thing. You know, everybody frets over it. So
To me, it's.
I went and took Avery's last year, and I was freaking out about it a
yeah.
little bit. And I, in my head, I'm like, if I fail this is going to be.
That's where like having the experience behind your belt and all those years, and it's like you run in there and then you end up failing. It's like I would feel kind of dumb, but I know 100,000 people, or not 100,000 people, but I know a lot of people that take the class and have been rapping a long time and they still fail.
Sure.
So I don't know if it's something, but I just haven't really.
My experience is most of the time it's nerves.
Yeah.
They let their nerves get to them because most of the stuff is really straightforward and you know the answer to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not trying to trip you up. They just want to make sure that you know the stuff. You know?
Which is a standard. I mean,
should-
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, across the board. I mean, if you're rapping with Oracle, you should know what post heat temperatures are.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's going to make or break you, but it's important that you know what they are.
Yeah.
If you want to properly set film, you need to kind of know what those are. And that's kind of it's I don't want to say it's cheesy stuff like that, but it's like that's the little details that they want to hold you to a certain standard so you can.
Well, plus big contracts too ask for the certification. Like our shop isn't certified, so we'll get calls from customers, and every now and then they'll ask if you're a certified shop, and we say no, and some places won't do a contract work with you because you're not certified, because they're told by their people that it needs to be a certified wrap shop.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. There's still time. We can still lure you right in. It's not hard.
That's why you wanted us in here.
No, it's not.
I'd rather be the one to never be certified.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. Justin Norton, that's what he was proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he actually asked me if he was going to teach the class. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said, what am I going to do? Teach the class?
Yeah. I saw that clip.
I'm not certified.
And Josh is a hell of an installer. I'd use Josh on any job.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
It's just learning and putting the legwork, doing the jobs.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like too, and it's not anything against training or anything, because with like Microsoft, they have classes that you can take, and then at the end you can take a certification exam to prove that you know how the program works and things like that. So with installing, wrapping, I feel like you develop your own habits, whether they're good or bad, but if it gets the result that you're trying to get, is it necessarily wrong or is it necessarily right? And I feel
100%.
like
I don't think it's a right or wrong thing
Yeah.
for trainers, right? So, like, if somebody comes and takes a class with me, I'm telling them I don't judge you on technique. I'm judging you on the end result. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that you can do it in this time frame and up to this standard. That way, because especially as a business owner, if I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling somebody, I want them to do a job for me. I want to know that they know certain things.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, then the likelihood of that failing and it coming back on me, you know.
Right.
But
So
I feel like a lot of people that, have been rapping a long time and then go do the certification or get the classes, like they're kind of knocking the trainees or the trainers because they're like, well, that technique isn't how I would do it.
Sure.
And I should be the one up there because I've got 10 years experience.
Yep.
And I'm sure you see it all the time.
I hear it all the time. I get it.
You see them shaking their head, or I've never been to a training class or certification, but there's people in there. I feel like I would maybe keep my head down and just pay attention and do what I need to do and get out, just
Yeah,
like I did in high school.
You don't seem like the kind of guy that would come in and try to tell somebody how to do their job, So it's actually, some of those are some of the best students, the guys that lay low. And one of the first things I tell people when they come in and take a class, it's like just give me a day.
Yeah.
Pretend you don't know anything at all. You're good. I believe you. You do not have to sell me on how great you are. You don't have to show me your Instagram post or your following or any of that shit. I really don't care at the end of the day, right? Because I'm really there to help them. Like I really want to make sure that, because there's something, like everybody has it. I've got it, right? And when I go in places, I learn shit all the time. So, and it's exchanges like this, like working with Justin the other day. I learned some shit from Justin. You know what I mean? Like he's got techniques and strategies and stuff. So I just try to ask him to give me a day, and then after that, they can prance around and tell me how great they are. I don't, it's
They're
just
out there.
dude, it's some wild stuff, dude. Like, we get some crazy people that come through, and you'd be surprised. Some of them come in and they'll tell you how great they are, and they're just not.
Yeah.
They're just not good at all, and it's unfortunate. Some trainers look forward to it. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait to put this
Knock
guy
this
in there."
guy out.
Yeah, and it's like, I hate it. I'm like, it's like the most uncomfortable thing in the world.
I mean, it's one thing, like, we have a following, but I don't feel like I hold it, like, over my head.
Well, I'm glad you brought that out. I wanted to ask you about it. So why did you start doing the social media stuff?
Just because in high school, when we were talking about the cameras, like, I did video production in high school, so, like, editing videos and stuff like that. I just enjoy content and, like, trying to put stuff together. I feel like I put out raw or just stuff that I personally like, and, I mean, I might use audio that I don't make any money off of it, which is crazy because some people do it to make the money off of, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I just do what I like and just post what I like. So.
Well, at the end of the day, it's kind of like your art.
Yeah.
You're putting your art out there.
So do you get, is there any business that comes from it? Do you get people that call from?
Yeah. We get it all the time. Customers come in and say, I've been following you online for, months or years, and they're like, they see the progression. They see that we put out the work. There's no, like, bull crap. There's no gimmicks. There's no nothing. At the end of the day, if you're selling yourself on, you're the installer, you're the business owner, and you're the person in the videos, how can they, say that, okay, this isn't the right place to go at the end of the day?
Sure. Well, and I think, so people that, a lot of the older people in the industry, like I say older, Mike he's not old, but he has an old soul. He really does. I mean, he's an old school kind of guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard for some people to see the point in it because, hey, just do good work, you'll get more work.
Yeah.
It's one of those conversations.
And
It's true, but there's nothing wrong with having that on the back too. Because if you're front of mind, for somebody, like you said, if they're watching your content and they're like, oh shit, you need a car wrap, here, call this guy.
Yeah.
And I do like your name. It's catchy. People will remember it, and that makes it that's helpful.
Yeah.
I
don't know how it clicked. I Googled it, nothing came up, and I was like, that's it.
Oh, it's good.
It's very rare.
And the logo's good too. I like it. Yeah. It's clean, it's simple, it stands out. You know what it is when you see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that makes a big difference.
Plus, this isn't the color logo. The color, I wanted a graffiti style look because, like, School of Raps and, a lot of people do that funky font, but you want to be clean, professional, but you're dealing with colors at the end of the day. You're wrapping cars, you're wrapping commercial stuff. So I feel like having a logo with one standard color works for a lot of people, but ours has a nice gradient of red to orange to white and blue that it all flows and it brings color all together, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like it. And I like the truck too. I haven't seen it up close. I really try not to.
Yeah.
I really do. I do my absolute best. You said it earlier, like it's what people do, right? Like if you're an installer, you're going to go look.
Yeah. We go out in public and she'll say that car's wrapped. I'll respectfully walk around a car 5 or 10 feet away.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the guy that, unless we're at a car show and we're like really looking at it, that's a different thing. But
have you ever been to SEMA?
No.
We want to, but
it falls on our anniversary, so we need to.
What better way to spend an anniversary?
Yeah, it'd be great. It's worth going, but you see one extreme to the other there. You know what I mean?
See people just, you got to call out every little thing.
Well, I think that's kind of what you were saying though. Like if you're going to take it to a show, it
needs to be top-notch work.
You need to take that thing up a notch.
That's understandable.
You know what I mean? But you go out there and you'll see guys that it looks like, I don't know, man.
They did it in their one-car garage with one overhead light.
Way worse. Yeah. Like not even close to that.
I wrap that truck in our carport.
Outside.
Outside. And it looks fine.
Yeah.
So
ain't nothing wrong with that.
The stigma of, people calling people out online of, he's wrapping in a carport or wrapping outside. Like, honestly, a lot of people don't realize that. I've wrapped in some weird places as a contractor, and I'm sure you have too. I've wrapped in a bowling room in the back of a warehouse.
No, I'm spoiled. I stick it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Josh had to wrap a van in a barn one time.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He called me and he was like, "Hey, do you want me to move the donkey or I'm like, move a donkey. What are you talking about?
No, dead serious.
I'm
Like
serious.
I didn't like it was down some back roads, like
it's there.
some like private like I was like, I'm not sure what's gonna happen here. Like I'm gonna get murdered or
It's gonna be the wrong turn,
But I feel
whatever
like-
number they're on.
I feel like the people that are starting up or coming in, and you know, they like y'all's shop. Like this is a dream shop for me too. My shop that I have is the dream shop that I've always wanted.
Sure.
I haven't had a shop my whole career installing until, you know, less than 6 or more than 6 months ago, and I was wrapping in a carport. And you can still do the quality work and just know what to do and what not to do. Yeah. And you don't have to have the big fancy shop. If it's the timing is right, then go for it. But don't feel like you need it from the beginning.
I seen a guy. I appreciate the hustle. I almost think it's required because I don't think you can really appreciate a really nice place without putting in some work. You know what I mean? Like you got to go out and do some of the shit work But I'll follow a couple guys on TikTok, especially. TikTok's really good for it. You can find just about anything and everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'll see carport installers, you'll see high end crazy shops, but there was a younger guy that I was following that he was doing his at night at gas stations. Did you ever see this guy?
Yeah, the gas station wrapper.
Gas station wrapper, and I appreciate it. Right?
Yeah.
It's a hustle. I'm not saying he's a great installer or anything like that, but I'm just saying like
different.
it is different. He took it upon himself. Like, you know, he don't give a shit what anybody else thinks about him.
Car detailers, I mean, not trying to put us in categories, but
Sure.
I mean, car detailers wash a car in random spots. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you've done contract work. I've done contract work for big companies, and like, hey, go wrap this car or this truck, and it's in the crappiest place ever that has sawdust. I mean, I've wrapped a full trucks in sawdust environment, like in the back of a lumber place. Like, it's not this, you know, white walls, perfectly clean mop floors. Like I had one guy comment, and the Chevy Transit van had all the tree droppings and all the leaves and stuff where the windshield and the hood meet. And I wanted to show off my skills, and I cleaned the hood obviously the correct proper way, and I wrapped that hood without dusting off that area, and I still showed a video of no contaminants or no nothing on the hood, and it was 2 inches from where the wrap stopped, and you can still do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be the perfect amazing shop all the time.
Well, and people get caught, they get up in their own head, right? And they're like, oh man, I can't do this. Everything's got to be perfect. And you know, that's what I like the hustle. I like those guys that are out there doing it. You know what I mean?
Doing it raw. Yeah.
And it's risky. You're taking a chance, but
Yeah, I mean, if I would have messed up that hood, I mean, that's some money on my table.
damn right.
Calling the client and saying, hey, you contracted me for this hood, and there's trash all underneath it. But
That's
if
the
you're,
worst, dude.
if you're confident,
the worst.
you can do it. So
And people act like that don't happen. That's real life.
It happens.
It happens, and it's terrible.
yeah, my
You
buddy Josh, he goes and wraps boats, and they had him outside under the carport. I mean, probably $1 million boat, and they didn't have it pulled inside the bay or inside the building. And he told the client that he cannot be responsible for trash underneath it. And he goes and pulls the liner of a 40-something foot run of material and a big old, you know, one of those bugs with the wings that once it sticks to the wrap, you can't get the wings. at
There's
all.
a special type of person that knows exactly what bug you're talking
Bug
about.
that is.
100%. And I appreciate the fact that you know that I know what that bug is.
You can't put
'Cause I
wrap on
do.
wrap and sit there and tack it off. No.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that would have been like, what are you talking about, dude? I don't know what kind of
We
fucking
call
bug.
those the fair weather installers.
Fair weather install. That's right. Because they don't know. They don't know what that's like. That's real life stuff. And Josh is good. I think I know who you're talking about. I don't want to mess up his last name.
Coast to coast wrap.
Yeah.
There you go. That's probably better. Shout out Josh, coast to coast.
Yeah. He's a hustler.
That he
WrapOn.
He works. That he gets after it. And I like Josh a lot.
We
But that's
brought-
what I mean. I like the hustle.
Yeah.
I like those guys. I like the ones that when they say it can't be done, they're like, call me. I'll do it.
Yep.
I'm here. I like that.
We went and we had him do a trailer a few months ago, and I had to leave to go do another job, and she stayed there, and I got back, and trailer was done. She was like, he showed up, got it done, rolled out,
Yeah.
good to go. Like,
I think he goes down and does some work with Moody Blue too. I think he does some work.
Yeah,
Are
he
you-
travels a good bit.
Are you guys close to them? I think they're
Greer's farmer.
yeah, Greer. I think yeah.
I'm friends with one of the brothers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Not both of them.
I think it's Garrett and Blake. I don't hope I didn't mess that up, but
Yeah. No, they're
cool.
They're cool.
no, they're good. They're different for
Yeah,
sure.
Josh goes down there a lot, and technically I'm closer for him, but we're busy. But I don't know if busy enough to keep someone like all the time.
Sure. Is Greer closer? Are you guys close to there?
Yeah, I mean it's probably within less than an hour.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. Are you trying to keep most of your work within an hour? Is that kind of the
I mean,
I mean,
got-
it's nice, but if we get calls for like, hey, what's that race car? It was a truck. He was in New York,
okay?
and he called us and was like, yeah, I've got a race truck. I'd love for you guys to do it. And we were like, say when.
Yeah,
We'll
I mean,
come.
if someone flies us out, we'll do it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the end of the game. Like,
Right.
you want to go for it, be the hustle, do the hustle, and if someone calls and is serious and they offer to fly you out, I had one guy DM me and say, "We got some race cars down in Florida. We don't have somewhere for you to stay, but would you like to stay on this yacht?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Did you do it?
We didn't do
No,
it.
Oh,
But
okay.
but
I
that
told
would have
her,
been
I
nice.
Yeah,
said-
that'd have been cool.
I mean, like a multi-million-dollar yacht just to stay in while we go and wrap the race cars would kind of be a unique, cool little
Heck
story,
yeah.
but it didn't work out.
So at RapsCon Long Beach, there's this thing called the St. Mary, and it's like this giant boat. I think it's a cruise ship, but they just retired cruise ship. But it's like now they've turned it into a hotel.
Yeah.
And it's like right across the waterway that you can stay in.
Oh, that's sick.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I always think about it when we're out there. I'm like, oh, we should definitely be staying over here.
Yeah, that'd be
Just
cool.
because it's cool. It's a cool experience.
Yeah.
You know? No, that's awesome. What else? Man, we covered a lot.
I don't know how long it's been.
Me either. I think I like it. I like not knowing. Somebody had suggested put a clock up, and I just like, no, we'll just talk until we run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you, man. I will say this. So when Mike and Haley were here, we talked about certification just a little bit, just because it's it's a topic, and I like hearing where people their stance on it. For them, it was a little bit different because their town got saturated with people, so they've got a ton of competition, and so for them it does make sense. Like, hey, you can go and get your certification. You can separate yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can kind of put yourself up on a little bit of a pedestal, and especially with 3M, it does, their reach is a little bit bigger, and you can pull work from it. It's probably one of the best decisions I made early in my career was to go do it, just because of the resources. They put forth a lot towards that program to keep you busy. For you guys, it doesn't sound like you need it. You're staying plenty busy enough. So that's cool.
We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the name on the pedestal, but when people Google and see multiple businesses that rap, and then they say, "Snap, that's a rap," in their head or say it out loud, it's like, that kind of clicks. And
It is. It's
maybe
catchy.
Maybe I should call them.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
So you're the shop, everything's going good with the shop. You still
Yep. It's 1,200 square foot, 14-foot bay door, 25 wide by 50 deep. It's a perfect studio, little garage, basically, that, we might get another bay eventually, but right now, I mean, I fit a boat in there and 2 cars, or I got the little wheel dollies and just move cars around if I need to. And
We'll play a little bit of a Tetris game to fit everything in at the end of the day, but it works.
production wise, like is it you just have a table out there? Do you have a separate space for it?
yeah, it's all open. It just has a bathroom. I have a 62 by like 110-inch table.
But it's all in just one open area.
And I have it on wheels, and I just move it around if I need to.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
And all we have is a plotter, so we don't actually print in-house.
What's your resource for printing?
We print wraps. There's a company in Charlotte called Admark Graphics. I got a local guy up in Denver. He does really good work. His name's Tony, Testament Graphic House.
Never heard of them.
He does printing for us sometimes. And then there's a small sign shop in Gastonia that prints for us too.
So you got plenty of resources.
Yeah. I feel like, people worry about being a threat, but I feel like I'm pretty humble, and, people start talking to us about business and needing work done or having work done, and, other shops printing for us probably is like a red flag to some people, but people are open to print for. So
Sure.
it
Well, I
works
mean, a
out.
printer is a printer, right? Like it's not at the end of the day, it's not going to change.
No,
You know what I mean?
it just
And
needs
it's
to run.
that's it. So we worry about it for us because we're an installation company, and last thing I would want is for any of our customers to think that we were trying to compete with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we really try to, like, if it wasn't for the labels, we wouldn't. If we didn't need a printer for the labels, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I've been told, like, doing contract work and then talking about having my own place, they might not use you as a contractor anymore because
Yep.
you have your own shop. But
Yeah, ProCal done it to us. I don't mind name dropping. I'll say it.
oh,
They didn't use us for a little while because of it.
I know.
Yeah, and hey, I get it. I understand. But I mean, for me, it was like as big as they are and as much as they're doing. Dude, I am the last thing they have to worry
we're
about.
goldfish compared to you guys,
This
a great white
huge thing,
shark.
right? Yeah, I mean they're massive, dude. But I get it; they have to protect their business and
Yeah.
everything, So
But it makes you feel good, too, that you're kind of a threat in a way.
yeah, they better not
sometimes.
forget it. I'm here. I'm out here. I'm doing it.
Lord.
No, I'm just kidding. I've never had it. Well, I take that back. I worked right out of high school. I went to work for Motorsports Designs back before Amela bought them, and I'd plan on retiring there. That's what I was happy. They did all the race cars. They did, and that's why I wanted to be an installer and a designer. I just wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
See, I didn't start rapping, doing race cars. You started doing race cars, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid, my uncle had a race car, and so my brother and cousins and stuff, they were all like mechanically inclined and really liked that, and I just really liked fucking off.
Yeah.
I did. And I just like just hanging out, and like they were like, well, you got to do something, so I ended up like cleaning the cars, and that turns into taking the old decals off, and so that's kind of where it came from. So I've always been a little bit around it, I don't know, I like it. And that's why this is cool because I get to be around other people that like it, and it doesn't really change. You would think that, I've met guys that are 40 or 50 years old that just get into the industry and they're just as passionate about it.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I like it. I like seeing them. I had a guy, he was a maintenance guy. He came up and took a class with us. He played music his entire life and he worked at as a teacher at a college. And so he did some maintenance for him. So he was a full-time teacher, but he was in the maintenance department. And he was like, man, we're spending all this money on graphics. Why don't I just learn how to do it? So he came and took a class. And
Wow.
So he's wrapping walls and floors. And
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
And he was excited about it. He was like, man, I can wrap my guitar and I can, hang my banners up at the show. And he was,
that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, rapping is definitely something that can keep progressing. Like everybody talks about, the industry is booming and everything's flowing. My question for you is, with training, do you think maybe at some point we could, or not we, but the Rap Institute could get into like a school, like
Like
a
at
trade
a local
school, and have its own course?
I don't know. Training is a strange space. It really is, because, and I think there are colleges. Kenny Miller, me and him were just having this conversation. I was out in Vegas, and he's doing some trade classes at schools. So it's like in the kind of the automotive department, and he'll go in and he'll teach, some just basic fundamentals, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's generational. So you've got a lot of older people that, when we'll say it all the time, that paint's dead, right? Like it doesn't, it's kind of funny. I went through a phase where I was like snapping my buddy that was like a painter, like paint is dead stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to have a job soon. I'm coming for you, but it now it's like, it looks like it's more real than ever. When you hear Tesla's like, no, we're just not going to paint any cars anymore. You get them one way and then you figure it out. You do it. If you want to paint it, you paint it, but it's really not worth it to us to paint it. And then they start offering stuff from the factory, and then this big Ford program that they're putting together. Right now, it's not for brand new cars, but it's going there.
Oh,
It has to be. Like, they're just trying to position themselves to do the same thing Tesla's doing. So they're gonna lower their expenditures by not having to put all this paint and body and all that stuff, right? They get rid of all that shit, and then they say, no, y'all deal with it. Prices of cars won't come down; they'll probably go up, but they're gonna get rid of all that extra stuff.
Yep.
So
As long as they paint them all black. Don't paint them all white and then say, everybody wrap all these white.
Well, that's what they
trucks all
did with commercial. Like you look at
'cause
every.
it's the cheapest paint you can
Yeah.
find.
It's the worst. Like, who would have ever thought it was a good idea to say, okay, we're going to make 1 billion commercial vans and every single one of them's going to be white? Why are you making it white? Oh, it doesn't matter. They're going to put graphics on it anyway. Yeah, that's right. They are.
Colorful.
Yeah,
graphics.
bright. You know?
It's a good baseline for some wraps, but
Right. For 90% of them, like, and I think that's a good conversation. Josh is really passionate about that. Like, he goes to the next level with his commercial stuff, and he's very vocal about it. And, you know, I look at that as the hustle. You know what I mean? Like, good for him.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
you can hold that standard and put out that work that you want to put color change into commercial, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't
'cause
see anything wrong with it.
we see the commercial jobs up more than the color changes. A lot of people that are in the industry think, oh, color change. We go and look at commercial, and when it's rough, it's pretty rough.
It's bad, yeah. Well, but yeah, there's a girl, Crystal. I can't think of Crystal's last name, but Candy Wraps. She's down in She had made a post one day, and they were tearing. It was on the Wrap Society or something. Somebody made a post, and she went in and she was like, "Guys, if you don't know the scenario that they wrap that in, then you got no business saying a word. If you don't know the film." You know, she really hit some high points, and I was just like, oh, well, she said it all. You know, y'all heard that. You know, she hit all the high points.
Could have been in a barn.
Yeah, it could have
With
been
a donkey?
Yeah, if you're fighting with a donkey, trying to get graphics on.
Hay just flying in the air.
Yeah, or roosters. Golly, could you imagine a rooster while you're rapping? That'd
It's
be the
funny.
worst.
It's funny because I wrap boats for Montevideo University from time to time, and I'm literally like, the guy's shop is amazing, but it's way out in the sticks, and but he's got like a whole ass farm out there, like roosters, chickens, 4 dogs, goats, baby goats, you name it, and 2 little kids that are just like, they're cool, and they'll come flying through on some 4-wheelers and like with a chicken in their hand.
It's out
Like
there.
I'm dead serious, and it's the cool, and it's the shop is nice, but you're living on a farm, you're rapping on a farm.
Yeah,
all that's great, but it's like, it's not the best environment for rapping.
No,
You know what I
especially when there's like deer feed like piled up
Yeah.
in the back corner of the shop,
The
like
gnats.
right next
gnats, yeah.
to where you're rapping.
I wrapped a boat in a guy's pole barn with no walls, and he had chickens running around. And I did the whole side by myself. It's like a 26-foot boat. I was just like, it's either make it or break it. I mean, it's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen. So before we got the shop, I would just be on site installs. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. If a customer has a garage themselves, I mean, if you pull up and do the job and do their roof or do their car, it's perfectly normal too. So
You ever get uncomfortable with that? No. I've been in some weird situations, man.
yeah,
Yeah, you go into somebody. Anytime I kind of go into somebody's house, like, and it's funny because my wife is really to herself. She's like polar opposite of me. Like, she, normally when we get into a group of people, she'll just turn around and walk away, and she'll be like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Just, he's going to talk and he's going to say something embarrassing. I just can't do it. So that's where she's at. But so when I get comfortable really quick, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I'm, but there are like, she's taught me a lot about boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bad about, I'll reach out and touch somebody's shoulder, and she'll say, don't do that.
yeah.
Don't do that. People don't like you to touch them.
But when you pull up at someone's house and you really just got to use the bathroom, it's like, you got to have that conversation of, can you show me where the bathroom is? And
Yeah. Or just anything. You know what I mean? Like, Justin brought up some good points. I mean, realistically, when you're doing cars, it's pretty rare that you find like a kilo of cocaine, right? Like, I've never ran across that personally that I can remember. But it does have, like, you find some weird stuff, you know what I mean? And but when you're in somebody else's space, like, it can be a little nerve-wracking, especially for new people. You know what I mean? Like, going into the industry. We did this Callaway golf trailer wrap thing where we would go out and we just black the trailer and put loose decals on it for Callaway. And it was at people's houses. And some people were like, come on in, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
They'd hang out and they'd watch, and other people were like, you're doing it out front.
Yeah.
The cameras are on. you know?
And we're watching you.
Yeah, I was like, well, where, you know, do you want us to, you know? And he's like, don't you ask about bathrooms? Don't you do it? They're not. No. I'm like, well, I'll just pee in the woods. No, you will not.
Yeah.
No, you will not. You know, and it's like, I don't even I've met some people that they can't handle situations like that. You know what I mean? Like that freak. You know.
Yeah.
My wife's inside, and you're not going in there.
Yeah.
But people deal with it all the time. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
HVAC guys have to go to people's house and service HVAC systems,
And that's interesting. Like those guys have even like built things into their business model, like the little booties and everything. Like the, you know, that's the first thing. Like, hang on, put my booties on before we go in. You know, and I like that. I think that's good.
I mean, you could, you know, wrap in a pole barn or in a carport, and then your next client could have a massive, you know, 20,000 square foot building to themselves. I mean, you just never know what that customer has, and if they're willing to allow you to come to their property and do the job, then they're obviously trusting you with not only their car, but them knowing where, or you knowing where they live.
I had a unique one not too long ago. I went out onto the lake at Lake Norman, and there was it was a community of airplanes. So it was like their airplanes. You know, they live with their airplanes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was strange to watch. Like, you know, like as you're pulling in, like they have signs, and like all the signs are like real low, so the wings don't hit them, and the mailboxes kind of, you know, everything is made for airplanes to pull
Yeah.
through. And the guy, we wrapped his race car in his airplane hangar.
Yeah.
It was strange, man. Like it was live a whole different life, you know,
yeah.
just
There's levels.
they're really for sure.
That's a wild one.
Yeah. And it's cool for us because it's like, you know, we're doing his race car, you know, as an installer. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you go in and you're doing his race car, you might do his service trucks, you might put numbers on his airplane, like that, you know. So there really is like option after option, but that's the hustle part of it. I like because it really, that's how I like at the core. That's how I am. Like I'm a cold call kind of guy. I want to go in new places. I want to see people and talk to them. And
Yeah.
I want to just see how shit works. And
There's a lot to wrap out there in the world.
yeah. Fortunately, right?
Yeah. I've wrapped some different stuff.
Caskets, man, took a like.
Yeah.
You've
I
done
done a
one?
baby one.
I did a baby casket, and it was on Halloween.
Yeah, it was. It was purple.
It was purple.
Just color change. I don't know if that's appropriate. Is that the right way to ask that?
I mean, yeah.
Is it?
It was
Okay.
a color
purple.
change.
Oh, okay.
Color
Yeah.
change baby casket.
All respect. Just
Rest in peace.
rest in peace for sure.
Baby
So-
helmets.
The baby helmets are a big thing.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of them.
A lot of people actually offer them for free just because it's a touchy subject for
It's expensive.
the people, and you know they have to buy the helmet for the baby, and maybe it's not part of their budget because,
It's not covered by insurance, I
Yeah.
don't think.
and then they come standard just white, and you know put some kind of graphic or make it look like a football player helmet.
Sure. Well, it's exciting, right? Kind of get wanting to feel funny about it. I don't know if that's a thing, but most kids are, you know, I don't know if they're thinking
At
about
that age, they don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, they're usually babies.
Sure. Yeah, man.
It's just making the
Parents feel a little
happy.
bit better.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, because that's not easy. So do you, two questions. That conversation, kids?
No.
No kids.
Fur babies.
Yeah. Dog people, huh?
Well, he's the cat person. I'm
two
the
cats,
dog.
Two cats, 2 dogs? Okay.
but no
Nice.
kids.
No kids. Nothing wrong with that. But and motorcycle riders, right?
Yeah, we have Harleys.
Yeah. And you both ride.
Yep. She got her first bike about a little over a year ago, and it was a little Z400. We ended up wrapping it with We Print Wraps film, one of their custom cool designs, and
That's cool.
we ended up getting her a Harley. She's the only person that for a while I wrapped motorcycles for, which was for my wife. Her
And I
Harley.
enjoyed that exclusivity, but no more.
I try. A lot of rappers stay away from motorcycles.
Sure.
And I wrapped her Harley, her Softail Standard, and then
Those are the fair weather wrappers we were talking about.
and now we just ride around. We rode today this morning to a car show and to have a customer pick up her car.
So did you ride before, or was it like no? So y'all rode together, and then you were like, "Hey, I'm gonna."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm open to trying new experiences at least once. I never grew up riding dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, nothing like that. My dad wanted me to, but my mom she was a little helicopter parent, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get to live out that kind of childhood. So when I got with him, he actually opened up that adventurous side of me. So we got 4-wheelers, dirt bikes, and then he got the 48 Sportster. And I was like, this is really fun. And he was like, well, how would you feel about one for yourself? I'm like, okay. So we went and got one.
Did you go take the class, like go down to the Harley shop? No?
We don't even have her.
We haven't got the endorsement yet.
No way. Good for you, Rebel. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
If you're not doing stupid stuff, I mean, why should you get pulled over on?
No, you shouldn't. No, I don't have mine either, and I ride like hell. It doesn't bother me. But I wouldn't have pinned you for that type of person. You know what I mean?
I gotta
Really?
go do the class, and then I gotta
Right.
get the license, and then no.
I'm kind of the helicopter parent too myself a little bit. Yeah, like I'm on. Like I worry to death about the kids. Like but I want my daughter to go through it. Like, but I want her to go through the class, and like I don't want to be the person that teaches her. You know, like
Yeah, because it's crazy. In the class, they tell you to stall the motorcycle. Wait, she actually stalled it for the first time, and a cop was behind her. Right,
They followed us.
all the way to the house, and then the
Were you nervous? Is that what it was?
I guess I was subconsciously, but
Yeah.
I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
And he took off. We were at a stop, and it was on a hill, so that made it even harder. And I'm over here like trying to hold
with a cop behind her. I'm pretty sure they were trying to pull us over because we got
gunned
on
it a little bit
Sure.
on a back road. And then I looked down in my mirror, and I'm like, "Where's a cop?"
Yeah.
And I would assume probably I can say this because I feel like a cop, right? Like I feel like I resonate.
You got the
with a cop. I do.
mustache.
Like
Are you a cop?
I feel like I think like a cop, you know. But if I seen a woman on a motorcycle, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm saying she's got a license. There's no way that she's riding.
I feel like a lot of women do get their endorsement.
Well, I mean, especially ones that's never rode before, right? So I mean, did y'all just hit the parking lot or what? Like just
Yeah,
to
I
learn?
rode in a parking lot.
Yeah.
He would drive me on it, so that way we didn't have to like take a trailer or anything. There's like a little technology park near us, so there were a couple parking lots that I would just ride around in, and the neighborhood a little bit. And I told him one day, I was like, I want to go on the road. He's like, okay. So we did.
So what about? Are you into the rapping portion of it? I mean, I know you said that you like the design part and you like.
He's tried to get me to really, I haven't like attempted anything on my own, but I'll help him. I'll assist him. I've done decals. I can do decals.
Spot graphics and stuff.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
crazy to think 10 years and, hey, can you wrap this hood? I mean, she's helped me on a hood. I
Sure.
let her squeegee a hood a few times and stuff like that. It's just.
But it's something you're into. Like, are you thinking about it for the future? Like, is that something you might?
Probably not
No?
if I don't have to, just
Okay.
because I can't cut a straight line to save my life.
Sure.
Even with a pair of scissors. It's so jagged. I can't do it.
Nobody
So-
can. If they tell you you can, they're.
I mean, he can cut pretty straight.
Where's my.
He's got you fooled, is what he's
No,
got you. I'm telling
I've seen him, and I don't know what it is, but he can get a clean cut, nothing.
Which is crazy because, like, some people, like, she rides motorcycle and, I mean, she put on her exhaust and, she's handy and does stuff.
Well, that's
and-
why I was asking. I think it makes sense.
But
Yeah.
for her to say, no, I'd really not rather rap.
Sure.
I'd rather just, stick the graphics. And
I get it 100%.
she sees me on the ground, upside down,
Sure.
Yeah,
talking about my knees. And
complaining. Oh, my feet. My legs are throbbing.
if I don't have a stool, I'm not a happy person.
How much did you pay for your Viper stool?
It was enough, I'll tell you that. Worth every penny, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is a comfortable.
It's a talking piece when people come
Yeah,
in.
and I actually put it together.
Yeah, she went into the house. I was finishing up a car. It was late at night, and I was like, I think the chair got delivered to the house because we still don't deliver to the shop just because it's got a gate and we're not there. Well, we're there a lot, but just in case we miss.
Sure.
But she went and got the chair, and then I was still rapping on something, and she actually put the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Hasn't fallen apart yet. So.
You do like it though. I mean, it's a good. Yeah.
No, I mean, when
It was worth the money he paid for it, I will say.
when you get up and you're rapping and you bump your stool with the back of your legs just to make sure it's out of your way. You do that with one of those chairs, and that
It
thing
goes
is
to the
10
other
miles
side.
an hour.
It's a good caster. He's got good
dude.
wheels.
Oh, yeah.
I did it one time, and that thing walked away. Like it just kept.
It just
rolling.
kept rolling.
I see them all the time, and I've never looked at the price of them because you know they're not cheap. Like it just. But I'm the hard headed, like I'm kind of like Mikey.
Harbor Freight.
No, I'm worse, dude. Like if you get it, I mean, you probably don't want to look at my knees, but if you did, like they're like lumpy and like just like it's rough, dude.
I knew from the beginning.
You guys get a look at my knees real quick.
From the beginning, I was like, I'm not gonna be on my knees. I mean, I'll do a bumper and get down and do what I have to do. But the years of hearing guys rapping for 10 years and hearing guys talk about their knees and being on their knees, like really make sure you use a stool and stay off your knees.
Yeah, I had one of my knees swell up last year and it scared the hell out of me. It was like, okay, I gotta chill out. I gotta pay attention, or at least switch knees. One of the two, something, do something because it's rough. It's it's one of those things like you get used to it, and it's almost now when I sit down on a stool, I almost feel like I'm like sit down, I'm like, oh god, what am I doing here? I'm gonna get comfortable and like I'll just be
scooting.
Yeah, he does.
No, that's good. I think it's like anything else though. You get comfortable with it, you get used to it, And the traveling thing, like as a contractor, like it's like having to load up my loading up is loading, unloading, like so when you got a shop, it is a little different. And
I
think
still brought my stool when I contracted.
Yeah,
every day.
Yeah,
he's like, make sure I don't forget my stool.
Gotta have it.
Has to.
It's not the fancy stool because you can't really transport that, but.
Oh, is it big?
It's just, I feel like the stool just is smoother and you're just coasting and installing.
For sure.
It doesn't come apart or anything like that. So like the Harbor Freight stools, you can take the top off and it'll just be the base, and it's not, we've got a bed cover, so it would stick up and bed cover wouldn't close.
Yeah, so I'd kind of take the top off. The little red Harbor Freight special, that doesn't last very long. That's why you spend money on the really expensive stool.
Sure.
It can fit pretty much anywhere.
Well, we had them call it. Viper called us, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago or something. They reached out and they, had some promotional deals and stuff. And like I said, I'd seen them on social media, and so I was like, maybe it's time. We've got the shop, the floor's good for it. You know what I mean? Baden's he's a stool guy. He swears by it. Dude. He's like,
dude. The first time I used this, first time I wrapped a bass boat with the stool, I was sold. I don't go anywhere without a stool now.
Oh, when you're on a boat and
Yeah.
it's curved like this, and you can just hold yourself in the stool and just be. Yeah.
Dude.
Boats are a whole
Game
different
changer.
level with a stool. Yeah, I won't do a boat.
boats are an interesting market right now, dude. I'm hearing a lot more people.
We're getting a
watching.
lot of inquiries. For
Yesterday, a guy called. He said, "I bought the wrap. I got the old wrap off. He bought Rapid Remover to get the glue off. He said, I was going to go and execute it myself, but I decided not to. He said, I looked up some shops and I saw boats on y'all's page. And he said, these are the guys. So we ended up getting that job. And it's just a 8-inch stripe down the whole side of the boat. But some people want to go for it and some people don't. So boats are fun.
It's an interesting thing because it is like, so I met this guy from Chattanooga, Tesla Bros. Have you ever heard of him? He's got a really unique business model. So it's a DIY business, and he's marketed it in such a way that he's pre-cutting all the pieces, and then he does a video series. So essentially, if you buy his kit, you get access to his video series, so you can do it yourself.
Okay.
And he is like killing it right now. I mean, like his business model is like blowing up.
But the kits are for what?
Teslas, just all Teslas. That's all they're for.
Tesla Bros.
Tesla Bros. He's got a really interesting business model. Like he came through, we had a class and he came up and there were a lot of social media, activity. Like if you've ever felt funny setting up like a tripod and, somebody messing with you about that, he had zero of that. He felt nothing. He brought in people with him and was like, y'all stand over there and get good shots. You watching? Like he didn't, no shame in his game whatsoever. And his video quality is pretty solid, man.
That's cool.
Yeah. You ought to check him out. He does some cool stuff. He does some rapping stuff, but he's doing the pre-cut stuff. And I think I kind of like it. Like, so some places, it's kind of like the Tesla, like them doing wraps from the factory. Like people were kind of freaked out about it at first. They're like, oh, well, there goes my job. Tesla's going to take my job. And I don't feel that way at all. I'm like, man, if anything, it's more awareness. Like they're getting awareness out there. And I think it'd be good for customers to try it. Like,
Considering Tesla paint ain't the best paint.
no, hell,
No.
it's not the easiest car in the world either. For somebody that's never done it, dude, if every customer that we ever had would just do it first, it would eliminate 90% of the back and forth conversation. You know what I mean? Like, just try it yourself, and then you'll know what you're paying for. You know, because I'm not a salesman. Like, I'm not the greasy snake oil salesman to try to like, it's gonna do this and save the day, and you know what I mean.
A lot of thing I think a lot of customers are starting to realize is the longevity of it, and now that there's a lot more competition in vinyl, so you have 3M and Avery, which are your industry standards, and now you've got Nosatec, Vinyl Frog,
Yeah, a bunch of different
all
ones.
of them, and
Well, they're going like their marketing is direct to consumer, which I think is like never been done before. I don't think 3M or Avery or any of the big ones have ever tried to reach the customer first.
right.
So now we're seeing like those guys, like a friend of mine, Steve Carney. We were just in an event with him, and he was saying that he's got customers coming in that are asking for a Nosatec by name. Like, hey, I'm here to get my car wrapped. I want you to wrap it in Nosatec. You know, and
that is a good thing that you brought up. Is it's flipped that all these other brands are going straight to consumer first before the shop gets their input on that.
Yeah, I would feel funny if I was like a massive distributor. Like we sell some stuff, but we're not a huge play. You know, we're not Fellers or Grimco or anything like that. But like, if they don't play their cards right, you know, with manufacturers going direct to consumer, that's a real thing to be aware of. You know what I mean? Like, they're in the service business, and for you guys, like you said, at first you were using Metro. Are you still using Metro, or do you still
Metro Fellers, yeah.
Yeah,
What's ABA?
Grimco,
Grimco, yeah.
Where did we get ABA?
APA,
Evolve.
Evolve, yeah. That's one, right? Like, that's kind of a direct to consumer. You know, you're buying directly from them. So that's what I mean. Like, if it just seemed like for a little while that the Fellers and Grimcos of the world were, you know, their models changed too, right? Like, they're doing more online sales and their sale, you know, but used to it was like you knew your Fellers rep. They'd come by, and it was like, you know, they'd stop in and just see you and talk to you, and you get to know them. And if you had a question, you could call them. And so now with the brands that are, you know, doing what they're doing, it's interesting. I like to see where that heads. You know, that's why I'm always curious where people order from, and Metro has done a really good job. Like,
a lot of people complain about the tubes,
sure,
and the
When
shipping.
they're delivered, sometimes they're a little crushed, and
That's part of shipping for anything.
yeah, it's shipping period, right?
yeah.
Who else can you call and order by the yard? I don't, you know,
by the foot.
By
by the foot. Yeah, yeah.
The foot.
Yeah. That's huge. That's helpful.
Especially if it says sold out, and you call them and say, "Well, I really only need like 3 feet," and they're like, "Yeah, we got some laying around." So
Those guys are cool. We were up in Detroit on a job, and we just stopped in there to check them out. And I'll be honest, man, they've got like a mob feeling to them. Like, they're like clean cut, very, you know, Detroit. If if Detroit was a person, they do. It was intimidating. I was like, damn, you know. I was excited. We talked about the knife tucker a little bit while we were there, and so it was kind of cool, you know, but very, very to the point. The you know, it was a cool experience.
could be too many people walking in there, and they're like ready to weed out the people.
100%. Yeah. You know it. Like, and I say that a lot of customers coming in there probably asking for printed stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they're not in that business. They're selling material. They're
Plus, their shipping's pretty quick for North Carolina.
Yeah.
2 days most of the time. So.
I think they've got a place in Las Vegas too. So even out west, I think they're doing pretty good on their ship times. They're pretty good.
It's just the print.
Well, too, you can, unlike Fellers or it's just Fellers, probably Grimco too, you can't share that link with the customer and be like, hey, look at this website, pick out a color, let us know, we'll order it and be done. Metro, you can do that, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I straight up tell customers, Metro Restyling, go to the website. These are the brands that we like to offer, because that's what we technically use, and just go there and pick yourself kind of deal, and then we can kind of figure out different options or something.
So was it a big deal when she came on full time? I mean, because you were doing it all by yourself to begin with, right? So for her coming on, how was that for your business?
It's been
Gotten busier.
Yeah, it's gotten busier. I think
I try to ask really good questions. Sometimes I don't think about it. I don't know. I would never expect you to say terrible. She needs to get a full-time job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She
in my
needs
head,
to
I was
go.
like, oh God, please don't. There's gonna be the one guy that says, "Yeah, man, I can't wait. She's always here and nagging me."
I think the team duo couple type deal works well for a lot of businesses. When customers come in, they ask if, are y'all married, or they think maybe she's just an employee, and it's like, no, we're married, and they're like, oh, okay. So it makes them feel more comfortable too, that they're working with a couple that is striving to start a business and get something going. So
Well, it makes it easier too because it's y'all's income, versus trying to take care of somebody else. You know what I mean? It's kind of have you guys looked at that? Like, is that in the near future bringing in some extra help, or?
yeah,
Hopefully.
I would like to. It's just, I feel like we're in a good location because it's lacking wrap shops, but I think finding installers.
Sure.
That's the big thing.
If you
Finding
wanna,
someone.
if you want to start from square one and then they end up wanting to go do their own thing, then
Sure.
that seems to be very common nowadays. Is most places have installers, and then once they realize that they got something going, they want to go start their own thing. And but like you said, you thought you were gonna retire where you were, and some people have that mindset. They find a trait and they stick to it, and as long as they're busy, then they just keep going. So
Sure. Well, and it's tough. Like, I mean, you have to take care of your people because if you don't, they're going to find something better. And I say that it's challenging because it's, when guys first come in, guys, gals, whoever, when they come in, it's like you tell them up front, like, hey, look, man, this isn't Google. This isn't Amazon. I wish it was. And if you're looking for that,
Then go there.
you're probably not, it's not going to be here. But there's no beanbag chairs. Like, I'll buy lunch every once in a while, but like,
Not every day.
yeah, like it's just a different mindset,
Well, we actually had someone, he lived right near us, and he was a younger kid. He was, 18? And he had an old Mercedes. It was like a right-hand drive
Toyota
imported car, and he got Hexus.
Yeah, his first color that he
ordered
picks
Hexus.
So he asked me to wrap the bumper, and he was going to do the rest of the car. And he tried the fender, and it didn't work out. I told him originally when he came by to let me know if he has any hiccups. I'll be more than happy to help him because he was right down the road from our house.
Yeah.
And he
You
said,
actually stayed there for like 2 or 3 hours helping him.
yeah. And we ended up helping him. He helped me out a little bit, but I think just some personal stuff happened, and he just might be moving back to Florida, so we'll figure something
Well, it's
out.
finding someone with his quality that can perform at the same tier, as well as being passionate about it.
Sure.
And having that drive, like you said, that hustle. And it's not very evident in the generation after us, for me at least.
Sure. I've heard Auto Bell. There's some good guys down at the local Auto Bell.
That's where I was.
That's where we need to go scope.
You go down and just, I'm serious. I've been by there several times and thought, man, like, because like I said, for us, it's uniform is a big thing. So a lot of times when people come in and I say, man, you got to wear a uniform every day, they're just like, oh, this is the worst. It's like, well,
I mean, it is what
not
it
for
is.
you. Yeah, not for you then. That's cool. There's no hard feelings.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I've gotten to the point now where I'll tell guys, like, come in, spend a day with me. I'll buy you lunch. I'll give you $100 cash and just see if you like it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. You know what I mean? You're going to get all of me in one day. I promise. It's not going to be anything different the next day. I'm going to give you a hard time. We're going to joke. We're going to laugh. I'm going to be serious. Probably tell you a story about my wife or kids or something. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get it all in the first day. And if you can stomach that, then cool, stick around. You know what I mean? But if you can't, it's probably not going to work.
Yeah.
That's where the 90-day grace period normally works out for a lot of places.
I got to get them out the door, man. 90 days of somebody that I don't like and they don't like me, they got to go.
24 hours.
In
and out.
Got to go. I know, it's tough, man.
When does that day start? The 90 days.
You get some that stick around, some days they appreciate it, some days they don't. It's hard to tell, but no, it's cool. I'm excited for you guys, man. I think it's awesome. I love the brand. I love what you're doing. I like the social media stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it probably makes it better that your intent is enjoyment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it reflects on the
It's not
on the
the
content.
dollar sign for the views and the likes. And I mean, I enjoy the views and the likes, but some people start social media and I got to make money off of the views, and it's just not worth it to me.
No, well, you can get lost in it, right? And so I think that's what I mean. It's a good reflection. You know, you can tell when people start to sell out and they start looking for that stuff, and it's a slippery slope. So I would say definitely keep that up. That's super cool.
I think that's his wind down after work activity.
That's cool.
Throwing together a video.
No, for some people, they have it. You know what I mean? They have that eye, and Josh is really good at it. Like, too good at it sometimes. You know, he'll get lost in it, but it is like you can tell a difference. You know what I mean? And it's challenging. I think a lot of people get turned off by it because they feel like they can't get to that level. You know what I mean? They see other people's content and they're like, man, how's he doing this stuff? But
it's not gonna happen the first video you do.
Right.
It takes time.
But you're doing. I mean, you said you're doing it all from your cell phone, right?
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. And your stuff looks good.
Yeah.
You know.
Just videos. I mean, we take pictures of stuff now with the
camera,
but like videos and stuff. And I honestly edit it on Instagram.
Do you really?
I don't even have a platform that I use. I just use
Besides
Instagram.
Lightroom too.
So you're saying you don't need a $10,000 computer? You don't need that?
I mean, if you're throwing together stuff like this, then yeah, it makes a big difference.
Oh, this whole thing is just an old room.
I mean, y'all
old
fully
dusty
committed
room.
at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah. Justin, like I said, after talking to Justin, we wanted to do it anyway, and we tried it a couple times, and it was clunky. You know what I mean? And so this is what happens when you working in the racing industry and you're around people like just high quality, like you know what I mean? You get used to that standard, and when you do something that doesn't meet that standard, it's just like you were talking about with the videos, right? Like when you make a video, you can look at it and you know, like, nah, this one ain't it. You know, I gotta change some stuff. I gotta play with the colors, and this is just, man, it's been really cool. It's fun. You know what I mean? Like I like meeting people.
Yeah.
You know, it's so hard to gauge somebody just off social media. You know what I mean?
I mean, me and you, I think, have chatted before a few times, and then we did that one job, and you were there, and I don't think we really conversated there, even though we were in the same facility. But like, you know, building relationships with people, but finally seeing them in person and talking to them is nice. And
well, in the work environment, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you were with Mikey that day, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
And I respect that. Like I respect Mikey, and the last thing, like me running up to you and talking and being like,
some people would think that's a threat, and you're like trying to get me to come and do 100%. Work for you.
So I try to avoid that at all costs. You know what I mean? Because it eats me up. You know, I'm like, God, man. Let's go over there and talk to Justin for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel in the end. I want to meet him. What's he got going on? You know, that's how I am naturally. But because of the respect of, you know, like for Mikey been doing it a long time. Last thing I would want is for him to think I was trying to do something shady. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just avoid the conflict of interest or avoid the appearance of conflict.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody thinking I'm trying to do something, you know, messed up. So this gives me an opportunity to get past all that.
Yeah.
I can just hit you up and say, hey, come on down. Come check it out and hang out with us.
Like most people that, you know, let's say play video games and have an online guy that they play for years and they've never met in person and talked. The same thing for our industry. And there should be more podcasts or videos like this that do cool things like this and get to know people. Well,
it is very challenging and it's very hard. And it really helps when people like and follow and subscribe.
WrapOn.
And do all the things. Ding. Because we don't get paid for this. I promise. None of this.
Yeah, they're fully committed here.
Yeah. I appreciate it. It's like I said, it's been a long time coming. But the tools, you know what I mean? Like we needed space for the tools. Josh needs his creative space. It's the only way.
How far are y'all from here?
About 30 minutes. Okay. Maybe a little.
15 minutes.
Yeah, Josh a little bit closer.
Oh, that's perfect.
I can do it in 20. You know, on a good morning if the jet is really.
Minutes. It takes 26 minutes.
With your wife calling you because of the app.
Yeah.
Time blindness is real with this one.
No, but it's fun. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Yeah. It has been a blast. We'll have to do it again. I want to hear about growth. I didn't even ask much about where the future was headed or anything like that. So
it's going.
But you're close enough to where we can do it again.
Oh yeah, hour and 30.
So that's easy enough. Thanks again.
Yep.
Like I said, really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. All right. Let's go.